Greetings once again, Dragon Warriors. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with Dragon Ball Super as we continue on with the superhero arc. And thankfully, we've actually had some changes that I was really hoping for once this whole kerfluffle started. With Saiyaman X1 and X2, Goten and Trunks actually donning their costumes to fight Cell Max, the acknowledgement that they were the basis for the creations of Gammas 1 and 2, and to have a joint team-up of the Gammas and the Saiyaman. In general, the only disappointing part is the fact that Gohan didn't join in, striking a great Saiyaman pose. We literally could have had a Ginyu Force moment. Missed opportunity indeed. Unfortunately, even with the Gammas and Trunks and Goten in their Super Saiyan forms going at it with Cell Max, it still wasn't enough. And when Goten and Trunks brought fusion into the mix, well, they're out of practice. And now being in Fat Gotenks form, they need a bit of backup. Enter Gohan and Piccolo, and 18 joins in somewhere down the line too. 18, both in the manga and the movie, was just kind of there to acknowledge, oh hey, androids. Meanwhile, Krillin does his best to protect Pan and Bulma, which he does a pretty good job of. It's revealed by the Gammas that the weakness to Cell Max is the top of his head. Unfortunately, once you do damage him there, he go boom. Much like the original Cell. Not world-ending boom, but a pretty big boom. And while they do actually manage to get an attack off on Cell Max's head, it's not enough. So Gamma 2 tells number 1 that he has a last-ditch effort to save Dr. Hedo, who's revealed to have still been alive despite his crash because, he has modified his body to be pretty tough. So what will Gamma 2 do to save his creator? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, Dragon Ball Super, chapter number 98. Gamma number 2's Resolve. Getting closer to the end. I do wonder what we're gonna have for chapter 100. Give me that good stuff. You see Gotenks bouncing across several buildings, making his way to Cell Max, who manages to punch him, bouncing him off another building. Oh, I remember this moment. Gotenks goes hurtling towards number 18, and he calls out, "Incoming! Watch out, Mrs. 18!" And 18 gets into a volleyball stance, saying, "Might as well put you to use." And as she spikes Gotenks, he notices he's heading right for Cell Max. He says, "Oh, this works." And he does his best, I guess, to make sure he's on course. And he goes literally head to head with Cell Max, actually managing to crack the top of his dome. Gohan and Piccolo notice this, and as Cell Max reels from the hit, number 18 says even a flabby fusion could come in handy. That is the extent of what 18 contributes in this fight for the most part. As Gotenks holds his head, he laughs, saying, "Take that, ya big ol'..." But before he can finish, an angry Cell Max unleashes a massive laser blast, almost frying Gotenks, though it does get his backside, showing his pudgy butt. Gotenks immediately gets embarrassed, and 18 says exasperated, "Forget what I said." No, you can't take it back, they did contribute. So Max then unleashes a barrage of energy loogies at Gotenks, who scampers along the ground, dodging. Behind the barricade, Gohan says, "Darn, they're not dealing enough damage." Gamma 2 says, "Listen up, people. I've got a favor to ask. I need you to fire off your range attacks at Cell Max all at once from a safe distance. Now, any part of him doesn't matter." Piccolo is shocked by this, and Gohan asks, "What will something like that do?" Gamma 2 tells him, "I just need him pinned down for as long as possible, longer than last time. That'll allow me to make my big move, and when I do, make sure you get far away." Number 1 questions, "Do you truly mean to go through with this?" And number 2 smiles, saying, "You know it, my mind's made up." And then he powers up. He tells the others, "Make it happen," and he rushes up into the sky. Piccolo questions, "What's this big move of his?" And number 1 tells him, "A head-on assault." We then cut to number 2 flying higher and higher up into the sky. Meanwhile, down below, Gamma 1, 18, and Piccolo unleash a ranged barrage on Cell Max. Inside Bulma's airship, she sees this, questioning, what are they up to now? As Piccolo and Pan watch, as Krillin and Pan watch, Krillin questions, peppering him with pot shots all at once? I get it. They're creating an opening for the guy who flew up high. Krillin turns to race out, saying, I think I'm needed. Bulma says, stay safe, and Krillin launches out of the back of the ship. I gotta say, that the shot in the movie when Krillin goes racing out of the back of the ship was just so well done. I remember that moment. And it was like, you had no need to make that shot look as good as you did. Here's just a tiny little panel. We then see up in Earth's atmosphere, Gamma 2 charging up. Oh, that looks good. Gamma 2 lets out a yell as he reaches his max power, and then he goes rushing down back to the Earth. Meanwhile, everyone's still firing on Cell Max, laying out various beam attacks. Gohan, Piccolo, Gamma 1, Gotenks saying, take this and this. And while 18 prepares to fire off an attack of her own, Cell Max fires an attack energy loogie out at her. She sees it coming, saying, oh crap. But then you hear, Kienzan! And it actually manages to slice the blast in half before it could hit 18, sending the two halves in different directions, missing her. Nice one, Krillin. 18 calls out, Krillin! And Krillin flies past, saying, in the nick of time, huh? Meanwhile, Gohan says, oh, come on, forget pinning him down. Our shots are only barely hitting him. But then, Gamma 1 notices number 2's re-entry, but it seems Cell Max notices it as well, and Piccolo says, damn it. As Krillin gets close, he says, hey guys, close your eyes real quick, and he takes off his helmet, throwing it to the side. He gets closer to Cell Max, saying, Cell Max, yoo-hoo, take a look at me. And then he prepares his Taioken Solar Flare. His illumination utterly blinds the beast, and as Cell Max is bewildered, Gamma 1 calls out, get away now! Everyone flies off, with Gohan grabbing Gotenks by his shorts. As he's flown off, Gotenks pats his butt at Cell Max, saying, here's a full moon for you. So glad that was included in the manga. Piccolo then notices Gamma 1 going in a different direction, as Gamma 1 makes his way to Dr. Hedo, shielding him with his body. And while Cell Max is still dazed, in comes Gamma 2. Closer and closer, screaming out with all his energy. That shot was so good in the movie. Piccolo, 18, and Krillin call out, do it! And as Gamma 2 gets closer, crap. Cell Max finally looks up. Piccolo sees this, saying, oh crap. And as Cell Max reacts, and a massive explosion goes off as Gamma 2's massive amount of energy hits Cell Max, almost eclipsing the beast. Piccolo, 18, and Krillin are all blown back. Bulma's ship starts to wobble. Gamma 1 continues to shield Hedo. Cell Max whinges in pain, and Gamma 2 unloads it all, only to have managed to take off Cell Max's arm. It's a cool shot. That looks just like the one promotional shot that you got when you saw the movie in Japan. Unfortunately, those little promotional posters and stuff kind of revealed plot elements from the movie. But then again, even the trailers really revealed way too much than they should have. But Cell Max has been disarmed. His severed arm hits the ground. It is a lot more viscous and visceral than it was in the movie. Like, you can see the guts inside and all that just hanging out, the severed bone. It is grody. Ugh. Meanwhile, Gamma 2 is on the ground, smoldering, sparking, unconscious. Cell Max lets out a pained roar. Krillin calls out, nice one. Piccolo says, not enough. He only severed an arm. Cell Max then sees the source of his pain. Looking down on Gamma 2, he goes in for a stomp, and Piccolo calls out, not on my watch. He goes into his orange Piccolo form and rushes Cell Max. He manages to stop Cell Max's foot before it can come down on Gamma 2, but Cell Max isn't done yet. He puts even more energy into trying to crush Piccolo and Gamma 2, with Piccolo struggling under the beast's mighty boot. But suddenly something blasts Cell Max in the face. It's Gotenks, Krillin, and Gohan unloading on Cell Max's face, but he unleashes a barrage of mouth blasts on them that they all just barely manage to dodge. Meanwhile, down under Cell Max's boot, Gamma 1 comes in, saying, thank you, Piccolo. And as he grabs the Gamma 2, Piccolo says, grab him fast! Number 1 flies off with number 2, sending him down next to Dr. Hedo. And then number one goes flying back into the battle. Meanwhile, with Piccolo, Krillin comes in to help support him, and he calls out, Piccolo, just grow all big. Piccolo questions, huh? And Krillin says, way back when, at the Tenkaichi Budokai, you turned into a giant. Yeah, that thing you only ever did once. But it's understandable, because it's like, it just kind of made him a bigger target. I mean, it might have been a good thing to have against Vegeta when he went Grade Ape, but, I mean, Piccolo was already dead by that point, so it didn't really matter. Piccolo says, right, forgot about that. He then increases in size and then just, knocks over Cellmax, throwing the beast off balance. But before Cellmax can fully fall, he manages to jump back, landing and growling at Piccolo. And Piccolo unleashes a mouth blast of his own, that knocks Cellmax back into a nearby building, causing it to collapse on top of him. But Piccolo, even though he's big, he's breathing heavy. Gohan says, wow, Piccolo, you had that giant in you all along? Looks like victory is ours. Oh yeah, Gohan has actually never seen this, has he? But Piccolo says, quit dreaming. Gohan questions, huh? Piccolo tells him, getting bigger doesn't actually make me stronger. It's mostly a bluff. Yeah, hence why he doesn't really use it. It's just kind of a trick to intimidate your enemy. It doesn't really give you the power to back anything up. Like, in most cases, this is the only situation where it really would actually matter, because it's just your opponent is big, now you're big. At most, you're just fighting somebody of equal size who's really strong. Piccolo then says, oh right, and reaches into his waistband saying, it's hard to fight at this size. Here we go. And he manages to pull out a Senzu Bean. How he found that little thing with these big old meaty mitts. Freaking crumb. Like, the Senzu Beans are already small as all get out. But Piccolo brings it out saying, here we go. I've thought of a strategy. You should eat this last Senzu Bean. Gohan says, huh? But that one was meant for you. Piccolo tells him, listen up, Gohan. You could be the world's strongest if you put your mind to it. This conversation again. And I'm not just saying that because this is a readaptation of the movie. Piccolo tells him, so I'm betting it all on that power of yours. Gohan is taken aback saying, geez, Piccolo. Piccolo says, trust me, believe in yourself and unleash everything you've got. Show us all your true power and use it to save the world. Piccolo says that he smiles at Gohan. Gohan smiles back saying, got it, and he takes the Senzu Bean. Oh, well, he goes to take the Senzu Bean, but Piccolo's hand is blasted and the bean is sent flying, much to the shock of both Piccolo and Gohan. And then they turn to see that Cellmax sent out the blast, almost like he knew what they were up to. It really is hard to tell sometimes. How intelligent is Cellmax really? Cellmax roars and goes in on Piccolo, decking him in the schnoz with a mighty punch. He then recoils his fists, elbowing Gohan. Nice fluid movements. And Gohan is sent flying. Krillin, the Senzu Bean Daddy. Bean Daddy, that's right. Thank you, Team 4-Star. Krillin naturally sees it flying and says, a Senzu Bean! But before Krillin and 18 can react, Krillin notices, unfortunately too late, that Cellmax is going in on them, and he smacks the two of them away, down into the ground. Gohan picks himself out of the rubble saying, the last Senzu Bean, and he goes flying, racing after the still mid-air bean. But before he can grab it, Cellmax grabs him by the leg, and then slams him into the ground, knocking him out of Super Saiyan, as the downed Gohan coughs up blood. Meanwhile, Bulma has landed, saying, are they gonna pull this off? She turns saying, how are you doing, Pan? Did you get hurt earlier? But then she notices Pan's seat is empty. She looks around saying, huh? Where's Pan? Meanwhile, as Gotenks and Gamma 1 are still trying their best to fight off Cellmax, Gohan picks himself out of the rubble. We see the Senzu Bean finally hits the ground, rolling off of a nearby edge, about to fall into the dark abyss. Gohan says, no, I'll never find it in that abyss. He gets ready to race after it, but then he notices a small foot going by him. And as the bean falls into the crevasse, Pan leaps after it. Gohan sees this saying, huh? Pan? She just, oh no. But over the edge, we see Pan finally flying, floating up from the edge. I think they changed this up a little bit. I don't remember it being that Pan grabbed the Senzu Bean. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Gohan just ate the senzu bean. Huh. Okay, nice little bit of added content. As Pan manages to grab the bean and floats upward, much to Gohan's shock. He calls out, "You're flying." "Wow, Pan." Pan laughs, saying, "I'm doing it." A little bit less action-packed than her, running away from Cell Max's destruction and all that, but I'm glad she got to help. Pan calls out, "Daddy, I got the senzu. Catch." And she tosses it over to Gohan, who grabs it, even without his glasses. He takes the senzu, saying, "Thanks, Pan." Pan smiles at him, and as he gulps it down, he goes into his ultimate Gohan mode, or mystic, whatever you want to call it. Gohan calls out, "Tell Bulma to move the ship a little further away, and wait with her." Pan says, "Okay, Daddy. Fight real hard, okay?" Gohan gives her a thumbs up as he flies over back to the battle. Oh man, a great double-page spread. Well, half-page double-page spread of Cell Max facing off with Piccolo, Krillin 18, Gamma 1, and Gotenks in the foreground. Oh, that's such a cool visual. Piccolo goes in for a kick, nails Cell Max in the face. Ooh, he then knees Cell Max in the gut. Piccolo's getting a lot more hits than in the movie, because Piccolo kind of immediately almost started jobbing a little bit to Cell Max, but he's pretty holding his ground here, at least for the moment. I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering, but I remember Piccolo just getting the business beaten out of him. Yeah, Piccolo then nails Cell Max with a kick to the back of his neck, but Cell Max holds his ground. There we go. Here's the beatdown, as Cell Max punches Piccolo in the stomach, nails him with his severed hand right in the face, smacks Piccolo in the back down to the ground, nails him in the back once again. Piccolo, he's just buried in the ground. Cell Max takes the back of Piccolo's head, runs it across the ground, chucks Piccolo, but Piccolo manages to hold his ground, regain his footing, just as Cell Max jumps in on Piccolo. But before Cell Max can make contact, Piccolo speeds behind him, charges up a ki blast, saying, "Take this," and unleashes it point blank right in Cell Max's face. Dang! Piccolo! Ooh, man, Piccolo really going at it in this scene, man. But we see Cell Max has managed to tank it. But just as Cell Max goes in on Piccolo, Gohan comes zooming from behind Piccolo, uppercuts Cell Max right in the face, sending the beast flying backwards. Gohan then unleashes a barrage of blasts on Cell Max, sending the beast down into the nearby crevasse. Gohan then charges up a giant ki blast and just unleashes it on Cell Max for good measure. Piccolo then calls out, "Huddle up, everyone." He says, "Gohan." Gohan says, "Yeah?" Piccolo tells him, "I'll do whatever it takes to knock that overgrown oaf to the ground. When the moment's right, you fire off a blast, a Kamehameha, whatever, straight through his head with every last bit of power you've charged up." Gohan says, "Got it." Piccolo then turns to the other, saying, "Are you really hearing me?" Well, he turns to Gohan, saying, "Are you really hearing me? Every last bit. Hold nothing back. All your strength in one doozy of an attack." Gohan says, "Okay." It's then in the crevasse, a massive blast of energy comes shooting out as Cell Max, like Piccolo before, rises. And as he confronts our warriors, Piccolo calls out, "Here he comes." As the beast glares down at our heroes. Oh, that was actually kind of hype. This was actually really kind of fun. I really kind of got into it after a while there. They really helped to build up the tension. On the one hand, we could have just ended it because extra pages devoted to something that didn't actually happen in the movie, but at the same time, it's I don't know, I kind of liked it. It helped build the suspense of the moment. I'm still wondering where the manga and the anime are really going at this point, because time of recording, there's been the announcement of what people were calling Dragon Ball Magic, and I'm that sounds fake. But more and more people I looked to for credibility kept mentioning it. I'm but it sounds fake. And then you had the actual trailer that revealed that it's called Dragon Ball Daima, which I don't know if they're essentially kind of having their own arc to start out with. I thought it was going to be a movie, but I'm hearing it's a series. So I have to assume that they're going to adapt maybe the Moro arc. They're starting off with, which I thought was a troll by Toei, essentially having all of the characters turned into kids by a wish on the Dragon Balls, which I'm just like, it's GT all over again. My God! But I don't really know where that's going to take place. Like, what about the Moro arc? What about the Granola arc? Like, how does all of this correlate? It's so weird. Like, are certain events just gonna happen out of order in terms of the manga and anime? Because Superhero takes place after Moro and Granola. But now you have Daima, which, if the Moro and Granola arc happen in Daima, when does Superhero take place? Oh no, I'm so confused. Or is it that Daima takes place after Superhero, and the Moro and Granola arc already happened before Super, which is just like, why do it like that? Why have it already happened before Daima? So I'm really interested on what happens after we finish out this arc, because we'll be hitting the first bit of Dragon Ball stuff that takes place after Superhero. I mean, we've established so many things in the manga version of events that I'm just like, okay, where are we going with all of this? But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be it to this adaptation, the changes that they've made, do you still feel like they should have done that in general? We should have just had some other arc that took place, even if it was just more Trunks and Goten. Do you like the changes? Are you more interested in what happens after that? Will they start adapting Daima stuff? And what are your theories in terms of Dragon Ball Daima? I want to hear from you, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you later. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.